Hey friends, good evening. Another one of our Slant Alpha adventures getting underway, live from Studio 5, just outside of Ocean City, Maryland. Good to see you here, and glad you could join us for another one of our Friday Night Ops Down Under. Love this event, and this is the first year in that I can ever remember that we're doing it twice within 1 year. I think they always used to do it annually, and it shifted, I know, from one time of year to another. It's not always the same week or month even. But yeah, this is the first time I can remember them ever doing it twice in 1 year. We did it this past April was the last time we did it, and I realized also that it'll be the third time in a row that I'm doing it with the BAe-146. But man, it just lends itself so well to this event, right? I mean, we've got it right here in the Qantas Link livery, and very much a staple of this area, this region, was the BAe-146 back in its prime. So, yeah, I think it works well, and we're going to do it again tonight. It is the Friday Night Ops Down Under, sponsored by VATPAC and VAT USA. And yeah, when you bring up VATUSA.net, normally it's that night's event that'll come up first here. They've changed the website around a little bit. I used to say that it was under Pilot Tools and Events Calendar if you wanted to see what the events were. It's now under Division Info and Events Calendar. But here it is. It's the FNO Downunder. And in fact, the full post has even a lot of information about what you need to do when you call in. It's got suggested routes between the primary airports. It's got scenery recommendations. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to get all the scenery installed that I wanted to, so we're going to kind of do without that. And as you can see, if I rotate the view around here, you can see that, well, we've got a... let's get into the aircraft, and then let's switch to the outside view. Yeah, you can see we've got a piece of the terminal building kind of missing here. Yeah, oh well, but that's okay. I mean, you know, those kinds of details are annoying, but they're not going to make or break our experience, so... anyway, back into the aircraft we go. Whoops, back into the... There we go. Okay. Well, now, one thing you might have noticed, you probably didn't notice because I had it up on the screen pretty quickly. But if you were very, very observant, or maybe you noticed because you already looked, you saw that the timing of this event is midnight Zulu to 4 a.m. Zulu. So technically the event doesn't start for another 50 minutes. And a lot of times, especially in these events that take place outside of the U.S., I'll go ahead and start the stream at the normal time anyway, because I always say that if I'm using Navigraph Desktop Charts app to get my charts and navigation, I always kind of fumble through that a little bit more slowly than I do with SkyVector and the FAA charts, just because I'm not as familiar with the tools, and you know, it's a little bit more fumbling through for me to do. But one really cool thing is that the air traffic control cover seems to be up early. So I think they're up and ready to go, and I think we might go ahead and be up and ready to go also. Now I notice this is another instance where, you know, the plane didn't... I'll tell you what, I'm going to try to disconnect and reboot. We have this issue sometimes where the plane doesn't boot in a clean state, and we get weird warnings that we wouldn't otherwise get. I'm going to disconnect, restart the plane, restart the flight, and reconnect. Let's just do that. Let's disconnect. Let's go back. I'm not going to boot. I'll go all the way out. I'm just going to go to the main menu. And then let's just select some other plane. Is it not going to let me select plane? Okay, yeah, there we go. Let's just select some other plane. Let's, Comanche. Save and back. Just load into my local airport. Let that load in, and then we'll back out and we'll load the BAe-146 back up right where we were. whenever that 0 fuel weight flashes red at me, I feel like it's a glitch. Something about how it doesn't quite boot up in a clean state. When I first loaded in and went out to the outside view, the landing lights and taxi lights were all on. And then I went into the cockpit and everything was off. You know, we've had that glitch before where we go into the cockpit for the first time and then stuff is on that shouldn't be on. So it boots up in a not clean state sometimes, and I feel like maybe next time that happens I ought to just immediately go back out and load right back into it. But let's do that now. Main menu. Go back to free flight. Let's pick the plane again. It's the 200 series. Let's configure it. Okay, it's still in the QantasLink livery, so let's go save and back. Save and back. And then let's go back to Melbourne. So one thing that the event organizers do is they rotate. It's almost always going to include Sydney and Melbourne. But the third airport is sometimes Adelaide and sometimes Brisbane. So this is one of the times where Brisbane is in and Adelaide is out. CB Flyers here. Hey CB, how are you? And then the other thing we'll do before I get actually up and running. Back into the right, hang on. Oh, I always lose the mouse cursor when that happens. I forget. Yeah, let's go back in, connected to our gate. But yeah, if I come out here, yeah, all the lights and stuff are off this time, as they should be. So maybe, just maybe, we've booted into a clean, cold and dark state like we should have here. I do have to get rid of the map. I don't remember the click spot to bring up the tablet. But it is definitely all cold and dark, which is good. When we jump up here, everything is off. That should be off, right? No, these should all be off. What else? Well, let's just make sure that everything starts in the correct position. Off. Yeah, just strange stuff with it not booting up cleanly into a cold and dark scenario. And then I have to remember how to get that tablet back. Not that tablet, the proprietary tablet. It was one of these plaques over here, I think. Maybe it was this plaque. That's actually the tiller. Maybe the tiny plaque. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we are. And 0 fuel weight's still ratted out, which is weird to me. It is in pounds, at least. Okay, well, whatever. We'll deal with whatever glitches that we get. Alright, but let's go ahead and get started. And yeah, the event's not technically starting for another 45 minutes, but I think let's just go ahead and get running. I also want to show you, once we get started up, so I got this little wind control radio panel as a gift, and I was playing around with it. Now, for the 737, the PMDG 737, it's very much plug and play. You plug it in, and it just becomes the little radio control head there that sits about right here in the Boeing cockpit. For this aircraft, for every other aircraft that I have, the Comanche, this plane, the Learjet, and the DC-6, It doesn't have an automatic configuration, but it does. It just works just in SPAD. It's just all the buttons and knobs work just like you could assign any other thing in SPAD to whatever control you want. And I was like, all right, well, how am I going to figure out how to get this one knob that I have on this panel to operate 4 different knobs at different times in this aircraft? And I was proud of myself. I was quite clever when I figured it out how to make it work, and I'll show you guys once we get the aircraft up and running. Iowa Scotsman is here. Langno is here. How are you? We're beating a 737-800 record, passing 6 hours. You're talking about fuel endurance? I don't know that that's a record. Is it a record? I mean, I've been on one that went 5 hours. Anyway, I don't know. Don't know anything. See, I'm not a long haul guy, so I don't really know about endurance. What's the endurance of a? Actually, we flew the 737-700 in across the pond once. And we flew it from Dublin, Ireland to Kennedy, and we landed with almost enough fuel to make it to the gate. So yeah, I've done some endurance things in the 737, but yeah, I'm not a long haul guy normally. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Let's get the flow list up here, and I did some other things. Made some other changes to my hardware configuration for this aircraft as well. So hopefully it'll be a little easier to operate. We've got a little bit more at our fingertips that we need during critical flight phases. So should be a little bit easier for us. All right, let's get wheel chocks. On Rookie 31st is here. Hey, Rookie, how are you? Let's go ahead and get ground power connected as well, and we can get passenger and cargo doors open. Alright, battery switches come on, and I'm going to do that by mouse now, because I moved those off of my yoke since they are not critical flight systems. Oh, look at how dark that is. I forget where the control for... Oh, there we are. Is this the one where the wipers are going to come on too? Where's the wiper controls? Yeah, they are. So let's turn those off. Man, it's just strange. This thing boots up in such a weird configuration sometimes. Alright, on the yoke we'll get nav lights. On the top end we'll get the logo lights. Let's get no smoking lights. All the stuff that I turned off a little minute ago. We'll just turn them all back on now. Cabin emergency lights can go to armed. Oh, they were already. 5 avionics masters, they can all go on. Brake fans can go to auto. Anti-skid can go on. Lift spoiler systems can go on. Down here we can turn the exterior AC on. Yeah, this is another one. What's the gear? Yeah, gear switch. And then these annunciators, like they're... Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to have to fumble through and get everything set the way we like it. I don't know why it loaded up in such a weird state. Anyway. So where did we leave off? External AC is connected. We can get the bus ties on. We can get standby generator and inverters armed. Center tank transfer goes to auto. And flight deck emergency. Actually, we can keep that shut. We're not going to have any fuel in the center tank. Flight deck emergency lights can go to armed as well. Down here on the front panel, we can power up the nav radio and the DME and nav 2. Master warning knob out. Yep, we did that. Okay. We can come down here to the comms panel, power those both on. power those both on, and then I'll show you what I did. So we got 4 knobs here, and I got one knob that works on my my radio here, my physical panel. Well, so there's 2 things. There's a little power switch on this panel that is actually an on-off switch when you connect this to the PNDG737, and it just boots its own configuration in. When you're in any other aircraft, that power switch is just another button you can assign. So with the power switch on, the knob works the left radio, and with the power switch off, the knob works the right radio. So that's one thing I did that I thought was clever. And then on the other hand, you know, you don't have an active and standby like you do in a more modern comm radio. You have this transfer switch that you can switch from the left side to the right side. Well, I just figured, all right, well, anytime I'm using the left, I'm going to want to tune the right, so the knob should work on the right. But if I'm using the right, the knob should work on the left because I'm tuning the left. And then same thing if I'm on radio number 2, the knob is always going to work the side that I'm not currently transmitting on. So that way I got one knob to work across 4 knobs, and I thought that was pretty clever. So I was proud of myself. And then on top of that, the other buttons on this panel, VHF 1 selects to transmit on 1, VHF 2 selects to transmit on 2, and then if I wanted to monitor both, VHF 3 sets to monitor both, and then if I want to undo that, I can just reselect radio 2 or radio 1. So I can always select to monitor both, but I can always unselect that if I want to. And I can do all that button-wise, not have to use the mouse on that at all. So that's really cool. I was proud of myself. I think that's going to be a great help. Even though I can't see on the little radio panel that the frequencies don't show up in the boxes over here, because it wouldn't know which ones of these 4 to show me in this on the display. So the display is not working, but the controls work, and I thought that was a pretty... I was proud of myself for coming up with that solution to work all 4 selectors that way. So anyway, let's continue with the power-up of the aircraft, since I've now shown you that. Oh, the other thing I did, I told you I took the battery switches off of the yoke, since you only ever turn the battery switches on at the beginning and end. But during flight, during takeoff and landing, you have the continuous ignition on. Well, I now have that on a switch. The seatbelt light I now have on a switch. And then over here I've got the cabin call and cabin cancel on a switch. Kind of like same as I do with the 737. So I'm kind of standardizing across my airliners the way I have the switches set up. So I figured that would be helpful for me to have everything kind of the same. Alright, so we got that panel set up. And then we want to go down here. Let's turn on the yaw damper. Let's set the squawk to 2000. And brake temp monitor is already on. And I think we're good there. The rest of that, we just had set it in a transponder mode, but we don't have our code yet. Alright, anyway. Hang on, found a spurious entry in my flow list here, and I'm going to get rid of that and save it. Okay. Alright, let's jump over to the tablet. Fuel, we want 15,900 to start with. I say let's just make that 0. Enter. Oh, we do have the little keypad. A lot of times when this... when we get this glitch, for whatever reason, we don't get the little keypad. Oh, I didn't mean 800, I meant 8,000. Actually, it should be 7950. It's supposed to be 15,900 to start is what I want. But a lot of times when we experience this glitch, we don't get this little keypad, which is nice that we have it, because it makes it a lot easier to enter these large numbers rather than having to hit the plus sign 10,000 times. And I like putting 2,400 pounds in the front, 2,400 pounds in the back in terms of the cargo load. And then 80 passengers. Okay, let's start the I just put 8 extra pounds in there just so I can get to the start refueling. Let's do the refueling instantly. We'll say that's already been done. And then as far as the boarding goes, all we got to do is just adjust the passenger load up 1 and back. And now we can do... let's just do a 10-minute. 10-minute is what I normally do, I think. Okay. Yeah, it's giving me error messages on the weights, but that's just a glitch. Something didn't boot up cleanly about the configuration, so we'll just deal with it. We're going to get a warning on the takeoff. We're going to get a config warning, but we'll just ignore it. We'll know to ignore it. Alright, we've already filed our flight plan. I've gotten the ATIS information a couple times already, but let's make sure it's the most current one. It did indeed update. It was Quebec, now it's Romeo. So wind is 020 at 14. We're departing on runway 34. Temps 12, QNH 1021. So there we got the altimeter information, and we got the temperature, which we're going to plug into our thrust management system later. So we've got that. Altimeters, we said 1021. I have to see if I can remember how to convert, or do they? Yeah, it just displays both. That's nice. So no converting needing to be done, just automatically shows both at the same time. So that's set 3 times, origin elevation 434, and yep, that sure is pretty close to what we're showing there. Let's go ahead and set some radio frequencies, and I'll use my little box for this now. Let's start with the bottom side. We're going to get the .21.7. So that's our ground frequency, and we'll transmit and receive on COM 2. And then
Melbourne ground, American 707 outside
we're going to do
gate Foxtrot 13
120.5 is tower.
Intersection Juliet departure.
American 703 double ground K taxi Golf Alpha runway Juliet runway 34.
And then approach is 132.0.
Taxi runway 34 via Golf Alpha and Juliet, American 707.
Okay. Alright, so let's grab our clearance.
Velocity 313, gateway to the 737. That's just double taxi and pushback approved.
And we're Q-Link 1514.
Give way to the 737 and pushback approved. Velocity 213.
Alright, and we're Terminal 1, Apron 2. Melbourne ground, Q-Link 1514 is looking for IFR clearance to Sydney.
Q-Link 1514, standby number 1 clearance.
Okay. What can we do while we're waiting? Yeah, not really too much. Everything else kind of depends on the clearance. We could start entering it in at just under the...
1514, good clearance.
But...
Q-Link 1514, you clear to Sydney via Dosal. Flight plan route, runway 34, Dosal 2 departure. Climb by the set to 5,000, score 4030. Departures 118.19.
Roger, we're clear to Sydney. Dosal flight plan route. We'll do the Dosal 2, runway 34. Initial climb is 5,000, 4030, and 18.9er for Q-Link 1514.
Q-Link 1514, thanks.
Okay. So I think we got it. Different order than we're used to, but I think I got it in mostly the correct order, if not maybe perfectly, but I got it close enough that he was happy.
11 Grand Lake, Yelling 1262 information, Romeo Stan Bravo 28 request.
So the next thing to do is go ahead and punch in the route as we were given it. It's
1262, just confirm to Sydney.
let's go into the menu here. Over here we'll go into the flight plan. So we're YMML, and we'll go to the menu and the departures. We're going to depart off of runway 34, which is option 4. It's a Dosal 2, which is option 3. We'll put that into the flight plan. And then after Dosal, it is Y59 and Rivet. So let's go. Instead of entering anything there, we'll go from Dosal, we're going to go to a list of airways, and it is Y59, so it's option 3. And we're going to take that to Rivet, which is option 10. And if we go back, we can see all the points are now listed in there. And then we'll put the destination in, but I'm not going to worry about any star or approach information just yet, because we'll be given that actually in this area of the world. We're actually given that by the center controller prior to top of descent. They'll tell us which star, and from there we can kind of infer which runway. So yeah, so that's all set in. Let's go back to on here. We'll go to the nav page. And here we'll go to the flight plan page, and we can see that it is indeed the second point that's selected, so we're good there. Squawk is 4030, and we can go ahead and get that in.
Velocity 313, can you accept Juliet for departure? Do you require full length?
So we can accept a Juliet departure.
Okay, so the initial heading on the Dosal 2 is 340, which I assume is runway heading or close to it. But we are going to start in LNAV mode because this is a pilot nav departure. We're not going to wait to be vectored to any of these points. The departure says just you leave and you follow this path automatically. So this is one where we can indeed start in LNAV mode and follow the path without being told to, because that's what the departure says to do. The initial heading 340 will set just in case we have any issues and maybe we need to return to the runway or something like that, return to the airport. So we'll set the heading at 340 just as a fail-safe. The autopilot is in RNAV mode. Flight directors can be turned on, and that'll allow us to arm the modes. We're going to set 5,000 here. And no, okay. I don't know if I had that button armed or not. Okay. Oh, it's there. It's just kind of dim. We need to turn that up. Man, everything is so dim. Gotta find the control that turns that intensity up of that light, or else I'll never be able to tell that it's on. Is that one of these up top, maybe? No? Yeah, there's got to be a control for it somewhere. Maybe here? Yeah, there we go. Now I can see that that's lit. Alright, so 5,000 and armed, and then we're going to arm LNAV mode. Okay, are we ready? Let's go ahead and start planning our pushback. We need to get the APU on and start it. Whoops. Oh yeah. Again, this little blocking switch is something that doesn't normally boot up that way, but Every time we've had this glitch, I've got to remember that that blocking switch prevents the APU from being turned on.
Gearing control 62, request push and start.
Control 62, prospect approved.
Pushback approved, gearing control 62.
Alright, so the APU's powering up. Yeah, the gen switches can be off for now. APU gen can be on. Okay, there's APU gen. APU air. Okay, perfect timing. We get pack 1 on. Get the external AC off. And galley switch can come on. Oh, it was on already. Okay, another one that I didn't catch that was already turned on. It shouldn't have been. Let's come down to the tablet. And we can disconnect ground power. Let's verify that we've got our brakes on. Okay, yeah, we got brake pressure and the handles on as far as I can tell. So we can come over here and we can remove the wheel chocks as well. And then let's click on our center of gravity, which will set our takeoff trim. Alright, with doors all closed, we can get the oxygen systems on. Fasten the seatbelt signs. Cabin pressure, we're going to set to 27,000. Yeah, let's... set it to standard pressure, first of all.
Velocity 612, request taxi, unable to take an intersection, Juliet departure.
Alright, 27,000.
Alpha Holding Point Juliet, runway 34.
Alpha Holding Point Juliet 34, velocity 612.
Alright, ice detection can come on. Engine anti-ice comes on just for the startup process. And then let's go ahead and get our thrust management system. I think we said the temperature was 11. And I think I normally set this to about 750 to start, maybe. Let's get the power on and takeoff mode on. And we'll get a flaps 18 bug sets. Alright, and I said we're going to push back at quarter tail, wheels up at the top. I think we're good. Let's go ahead and get our pushback set up. We're not going to roll until he gives us permission to, but we can pretty much know we're going to have to turn our nose to the left because we're facing... We're going to have to face out of the alleyway. Okay. Enter. Request to push. Let's make sure we got the current ATIS. Temperature's now 12. Information Romeo. Oh, temperature's 12. That's okay. That was 1 degree off. Isn't going to change our V speeds that much. Above ground, Keylink 1514, information Romeo off stand. Bravo 24, ready to push.
Turning 1514. Are you able to push back into that A by chance? I'm not on the taxiway.
I didn't quite catch. No, we're gonna push into the apron, and I guess we'll call you short of Tango.
Keylink 1514, that'll be great, thanks. Push back first.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I wasn't quite sure how they do it here, but there we go. We got permission to move, and we're moving. So we're going to start master on, select number 4, and start that sucker up. We get 2% in, we'll get the lever out of cutoff. There we go. Ooh, something's not right, because... Oh, I don't know what it is. I know what it is. Didn't get the rest of the fuel pumps on. Let's try that. There we go. Now we got fuel coming in. Amazing. Once you got all the ingredients, the fire works. Okay, red light on the number 4 is off. Let's come up top, get the number 3 fired up. Nope. Yeah, not DC, normal. There we go. Another one that just starts in a weird position based on that, you know, glitch of it loading, not loading in properly. Okay. Out of cutoff.
Skilling 1262, request taxi.
1262, taxi, Tango, hold short alpha.
Tango, hold short alpha, killing 1262.
Okay, red light on the number 3 is off. Let's come up top. Fire up the number 2.
And now killing 1262, able Juliet intersection.
Feeling 1262.
Yeah, it looks like they're asking everybody if they are able to do the Juliet intersection to depart or whether they need the full length. I think we're definitely able to take Juliet as a regional jet. We shouldn't need 12,000 feet to get airborne here. Alright, number... Oh. I guess if I brought fuel in, that would help.
Cabin is secure.
Okay, now it's going to really start to go. And last but not least...
Hello, good morning. Lower ground is Challenger Walker 1341, information Romeo over to J ramp, clearance south to Risen.
Walker 1341, lower ground.
And you heard good morning. This is a Friday night ops. We are using real time, which we don't often do, but we're using real time today. And it is coming up on 10 a.m. there.
Alright, clear to Brisbane, no next flight plan route, runway 34, no next 4 departure, climb 5000, squawk 4524, departures on 118.9 on Walker 1341.
1341, thanks.
I accidentally knocked the number 2 back in the cutoff, but I got it fixed quick enough. You saw the engine dip down a little bit for a second. Got it caught quick enough that it just restabilized, so we're all good there. Okay, up top then, let's get the edge selector off, starter off. We can get the anti-icing off. Let's get the generators on. Screen and probe heat on. And AC pump and PTU on as well. Hydraulic pumps can come on. There we go. Now we got pressure and everything. Okay. Let's Let's make sure I didn't miss anything there. Oh, and the pack number 1 should have come off for that process, but now it's back on, and the number 2 is on. And yes, it is standard to leave the APU on and the engine air off for takeoff in this aircraft. Alright, let's start select and start master. Anti-icing off, gens, packs, probe heats, hydro pumps, and PT, and PT. Okay, we're back onto the front. We got a standby horizon to reset. You can check our flight controls. The ailerons we got gauges for. Nothing else do we have gauges for, but obviously somebody outside will check and make sure that our control surfaces move as they should. And let's go ahead and get laps set for departure. Master warning knob. Parking brake released. And I betcha, because it's erroneously yelling at me about the 0 fuel weight, it's going to erroneously yell at me on the config check. Yeah, it is. So, we're going to have to ignore that. That is a glitch. These weights are indeed within normal limits. It's just the tablet did not boot up in the correct state, so it's telling me that it's not. So we'll just have to ignore that. We're going to get that on takeoff too. We're just going to have to ignore that. Okay. Taxi and turn off. Okay, so there's
4 stations for clearance. Contact Melbourne delivery 127.2.
Okay, and we don't need that because we're ready to go. Is it still Romeo? Yep, information Romeo.
Get 1262, contact Tower 120.5. Good day.
Tower 120.5, killing 1262.
Background killing 1514s on apron 2 short of Tango. We get information Romeo. We are able to take the Juliet intersection for departure.
Killing 1514. Roger. Information Sierra is now current. We're wind 010 degrees, 18 knots, temperature 13. Taxi Tango Hotel.
I literally just checked. Okay, we've got Sierra on board now, and we'll go taxi via Tango short of Alpha, killing 1514. I literally just checked. Like a minute ago. Like you could see the timestamps. 48:36. 49. It was 45 seconds. All right, so taxi lights on. We're away from the ramp so we can get the weather radar on. Brake check. Yeah, we got pressure. I think this is Tango. Or is this Tango here? Prior to the little island thing. Yeah, so I guess what we'll do is we'll just head in the direction of where the plane just took off from. That probably should be. Right, and then Tango kind of veers to the left here. Okay, alright, taxi lights on. Alright, very good. So we got continuous ignition on these switches. We got cabin alert on this switch. I think we're good.
Walker 1341 with Sierra GA ready to start.
And then
Walker
short of
13,
Alpha
41, push back.
will be after the end of this is Pier Delta, and then after that we're going to come up on Alpha where we'll stop.
Walker 1341, push back please.
Push through 1341.
That's Sierra. Okay. I guess this next one here is Alpha. Okay. And since we are not moving, taxi lights off. In case any aircraft are coming south to north or north to south on Tango, they'll see us sitting here with our taxi lights off. They'll know that we're not moving. If we don't get an instruction here in just a second, we'll just check in and we'll let them know that we're Tango short of Alpha.
Link 1514, taxi Alpha, hold short, Juliet.
Alpha short of Juliet, Keeling 1514. Okay, so that'll be the left here, all the way down to kind of the end. Kind of the end, not really the end, but the end of the big platform area. And since we're rolling again, taxi lights back on. Oh, and 18.9, right? So that's one thing I gotta do is, he said 18.9 was the departure frequency, so I gotta change that. Okay. Good, and then we'll just switch to the tower frequency when the time comes. Alright, hold on, where are we? Are we short of Juliet? Golf? Alright, we got one more to go then. Yeah, the hairdryer should like the cooler, dense air. Yeah, indeed. Uh-oh, did anybody get the license plate? Alright, so that's Alpha, and was that Yankee? Alright, so we got one more to go yet. Yeah, kind of at the end of where this massive apron area ends, the right turn there is Juliet. So I think this is we're coming up on it here.
Delivery velocity 219, ready for reback.
Alright, this should be us.
Ground velocity 319.
Okay, parking brakes on, taxi light off. And we'll wait for an instruction. If we don't get one, we'll check in just a moment to let them know we're Alpha short of Juliet. meantime, let's verify we're set to 5,000 LNAV mode armed. Ground key link 1514 is Alpha short of Juliet.
Yeah, the aircraft calling us was velocity 319. Looks like ground might have stepped away.
Well, then we'll wait. I didn't need to talk to you. They're allowed to step away. Their event officially starts
15, put along with Sierra rated taxi GA.
in 3 minutes. So they may, the controllers that showed up early may have kind of jumped off frequency to go to do their briefing real quick, or their changeover with the actual event controllers. So we'll give them a minute.
4 stations, double ground.
There we go.
Is offline. Crushing stuck.
Yeah, so I had said in my spreadsheet we were going to hope to be airborne at the top of the hour. So if we get cleared onto the runway momentarily, then I think we're right on time. We'll get TA and RA on, and then we'll get the cabin crew alerted, and continuous ignition on, and then we're ready. We'll just flip some lights on, and we'll be good. Yeah, so I'll recap that real quick. The event is officially starting 1 minute from now. So that's probably why we're getting this little moment of changeover. So that's probably why we're getting this little moment of changeover here. The actual event controllers are taking over for the guys who showed up early. Because we've had some coverage in this area for the last hour. Like pretty much since I started the stream, there was already a good number of controllers up. So if there's folks that decided to hop on a Saturday morning and get the warm-up traffic going, they are now changing over with the official event controllers. So that's probably why we're caught waiting here right at the time when we're ready to depart, which is fine. You know, give them a minute, get them ready for what is going to bound to be a very, very busy event. The bridge in the background reminds me, by the way, we haven't looked at our slant artwork adventure yet, which is here. Me and the pups walking along the Sydney Harbor with the bridge and the Opera House in the background. So if you guys want to get in on the action here and suggest an addition or modification to our slant artwork adventure, you can cash in 500 of the Twitch channel points, aka the Alphabet's points.
Delivery 127.2 for anything further currently. Good day.
Alright, I'm going to switch over to tower, since we're already short of where we need to be for the tower. Melbourne Tower, Q-Link 1514.
Q-Link 1514 on target, eh?
Yeah, I think ground's in the middle of a changeover, and we're on Juliet short of Alpha, or Alpha short of Juliet, ready to go.
Q-Link 1514, just taxi holding short, correction, taxi holding point Juliet, trade for me.
Okay, we'll taxi into the holding point Juliet, Q-Link 1514.
Q-Link 1514.
And Tower over 13, put it on. Not sure what's going on down here at ground. Any chance we get some taxi instructions over at Whiskey 2?
Walker 1341, just taxi Whiskey, holding point Kilo, ground at trade for.
3-4 via Whiskey 2, holding point Kilo over 1341, thanks.
Okay, let's go ahead and get the
Cabin crew, please take the seat for takeoff.
cabin crew alerted. We'll get the continuous ignition on. And we'll get the TA and RA on. And when we get cleared onto the runway, we'll hit the strobes, and when we get clear for takeoff, we'll hit the forward-facing lights. Just in case we end up on that approach frequency 132.0, I'm going to set that on the right side.
Chilling 1514, are you ready?
We are.
Chilling 1514 on a 34, clear to takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 34, Keeling 1514. Okay, strobes on.
Forward
Forward-facing
facing
lights.
41's also fully ready.
Walker 1341, Melbourne Tower Delay.
Alright, as we go into takeoff power, we're going to get that warning, or config warning. We're going to ignore that. It's a glitch. It's not actually a warning. Yeah, that's
Speed
what I thought.
alive, both sides.
So we're going to ignore that. We're going to push the yoke a little bit forward just to hold the nose wheel down until we get the 80 knot call.
80 knots, cross checked.
Okay.
131, just contact departure.
Look up.
Power set, flex and
All
change.
stations, stand by, control tank further.
V1. Rotate.
And there's our rotate speed.
V2. Positive rate of climb, gear up.
Gear's going to come up. Going to pitch to the bubble speed. So we're 1,000 above ground level. Okay, now we're going to reduce.
Chilling 1514, can I have departure this morning?
Go on to departure, Keeling 1514, we'll see you. Melbourne departure, Keeling 1514 is 1,900 going to 5.
VFTO.
Chilling
Safe line
1514,
speed.
today,
Select
Melbourne
flaps.
up to identify flight level 240, cancel speed restriction.
Alright, via the SID to 240 and cancel the speed restrictions, Keeling 1514. Okay, flaps can come in. .240, max continuous. We are following the route. We're going to capture 250 knots. We did it. Yeah, we are airborne. And we are following the Dosal 2, Bactal, Okika, and then Dosal. The only speed restriction is 250 below 10, but we're going to be 250 all the way up to a climb anyway, so.
G'day, 41. G'day, Melbourne Passengers. Identified. Flying Michael 6, level 240. Give us 7240, Walker 1341.
Okay. Continuous ignition can come off, by the way, post-departure. And then we're just about at our first climb checks. Alright, forward-facing lights can come off. Alert the cabin crew. Okay, that did work, I just didn't hear it. Okay, cabin crew's alerted. We can now get the engine air on, APU air off, and the AC and PTU pumps off. We'll also do a pressurization check. Make sure we have a little bit of ice detection going on. Okay. So let's do this then. Continuous ignition can come back on. And then we'll get some anti-icing system going. But let's do a pressurization check. So the cabin altitude's at a reasonable rate and climbing at a reasonable rate, and I like to say the differential pressure should be up at about a third of the way up at 10,000, 2/3 of the way up at 18,000, and then fully up at cruise. Differential pressure's up a little high. The cabin altitude's kind of climbing slowly, but we'll watch that and we'll make sure that it doesn't exceed the parameters there. Yeah, it seems like the cabin altitude's climbing a little slow. We're climbing a little fast. So let's... Mode is auto. Manual shut. Mode is auto. This is another thing that the... Yeah, that rate knob should have been put to the middle there. Okay. Yeah, so now the cabin altitude is climbing at a more normal rate, and the differential pressure's getting close to the max, but it should stay under the max if the cabin altitude starts climbing now. So it's okay. We'll keep an eye on that. We can climb the cabin altitude a little quicker if we need to, or we can slow the aircraft's climb if we need to. So it's a good thing we check on this. This is a little abnormal. The differential pressure should only be about a third of the way up at 10.
132.2. See you later.
32.2. Kilo 1514. Thanks. 32. Man, this is so much nicer to do on a knob rather than a mouse.
171. Re-cleared the RB8 Alpha arrival runway 27.
Okay, transition altitude, by the way, is 10,000, so we're actually at flight level 170 right now, except the fact that I haven't set my altimeters to standard yet. So that's okay. We'll do it now. We're a little late. I'm used to the way it's done in the States, which is when it's done at 18,000. Transition altitude here
Good morning, Melbourne Center.
is lower.
1321 out of level 200-240.
1341 Melbourne Center, can I climb to possible 410?
410, 1341.
And Melbourne Center Keeling 1514 is also here. 176 going to 240. Man, I'm
14, Melbourne Center, can I climb to model 270?
270 Keeling 1514. Apparently I can't say numbers today.
National Cargo 69 Bravo, Jack standby, 29,000, Melbourne QNH 1021.
Service Arm 9,1021, National Cargo 69 Bravo.
0121.
Okay, so we're through 18. Let's do our second climb check. Cabin altitude is still climbing at a normal rate. Cabin altitude still cabin differential pressure is still a little higher than it should be. Cabin altitude is still climbing at a normal rate. The target cabin altitude is what now? Let's check. Target cabin altitude is 7,000 feet. So when the cabin altitude gets to 7, we'll be able to safely get to our cruise. But let's kind of continue to watch this. I don't want that differential pressure to get up over the mark. We might just have to climb the cabin altitude more quickly than we're used to, if that situation persists.
Right, predicted by the Boeing 1 Alpha, runway 27, when ready to descend to altitude start level 250, locate X100.
43313, contact Melbourne Center 133, no 415.
13315, locate future team.
G'day, score 3204, maintain level 350.
3204, maintain 350, set 2.
How's the event shaping up so far? Sydney's pretty busy. I planned for a good long turnaround time at Sydney, so... And the fact that we got airborne right as the event officially started, I think that'll help us finish prior to midnight Eastern, which is when the event officially ends. We're going up here, Sydney, and then we're continuing on up to Brisbane. Yeah, so sometimes the three airports are Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney, and sometimes they ditch Adelaide and they add Brisbane. But it's almost always these two. Of course, they're the two most popular. I don't know if they're the most populous cities, but I feel like they're the most popular cities in Australia. So these two are kind of always included in the FNO Downunder when they do it, and then they alternate these two usually, from what I've seen. $21 waiting at Melbourne, 26 waiting at Sydney, 17 waiting at Brisbane. Okay, so we're good amount of traffic ready to empty into the skies. We just happen to kind of get the jump on it a little bit, it seems, which is good. So what do we say our target cruise cabin altitude is? 7,000. And it's just coming up on 5,000 now. So it's going to take another 4 minutes to get to 7,000? How long before we're at cruise? Now, if we're making about 1,000 feet per minute, another 4 minutes. Okay, so it's a race. It's a race, but let's monitor. Let's see if that actually actually stays within the limit there. And if it doesn't, we'll either increase the cabin climb rate, or we'll decrease the aircraft climb rate.
Just 36 star clear, RB8 Alpha arrival, runway 34, wind ready to the follow the 250.
Okay, so what you just heard was them issuing the star clearance for an arrival into Melbourne. The same thing's going to happen to us when we arrive into Sydney. We don't officially know what runway they're using at Sydney and what star we're using at Sydney. All I know is my route ends at the point Rivet. We can kind of take a guess. We can see maybe... We can maybe take a sneak peek. .ATIS, YSSY ATIS.
Continue to climb left 350 RB 8 Alpha and approach vectors 4.
So right now they're landing 34 left and right.
Is 121 descent line starts at 9,000, Melbourne 2NH1021.
9,000, on the QNH, is 121.
And so we can kind of assume that there's a star that connects Rivet with the northbound arrivals. We'll check into that when we get up to cruise here. Looks like we can probably turn the anti-icing stuff off. Maybe we get a little bit better climb performance now that we've done that. But I don't know that we want better climb performance. I think we want to make sure that our cabin altitude outclimbs the aircraft.
We could do a final flight level 330.
As long as the differential pressure stays below that yellow mark there, we're okay.
Melbourne Center, good day, Kapari 9015, that flight level 410.
Joe 915, Melbourne Center, can I identify maintain flight level 410?
Maintain 410, Kapari 915.
Doing 1252, contact Melbourne Center 133, decimal 15.
Alright, so let's go ahead, let's clean up our chart up here. We don't need the docile departure. We're pretty much done with that. So we'll unpin that. Definitely done with the parking bays and the ground diagram at Melbourne. So at Sydney, let's see. Okay, so we do have Rivet 5 RNAV arrivals. Let's see if we've got... Yeah, so the Rivet 5 look like that says all runways. But it looks like for 3-4 right and left, you're inbound from Rivet and then down to this point Nasho, and then we get turned on to the approach. I think it's probably equally likely we'll get 3-4 left and right. You would think coming from the west, you get the left side because it's the westernmost runway. But it looks like almost all of the traffic comes from the west into Sydney because it's on the east coast. So probably very little traffic comes. I'm sure some comes from New Zealand and other international destinations. But I'm sure the bulk of the traffic at Sydney comes from the west. So I imagine they send them down here and then they split them left and right. So I don't think we can count on, normally I say if you're coming from the west, you expect the western runway. I don't think in this case we can necessarily count on that. So I think we'll go to the approaches and let's get ILS 34 left and right pins so we can find those easily. But I do think we can count on the Rivet 5 to the runway 34s. And just for purposes of putting it in the FMC, I'm going to use 3-4 left. Well, which is the shorter runway? Well, I tell you what, they'll probably give us 3-4 right because we're a smaller aircraft. They're going to want their mediums and heavies over here on the left side that need this 13,000 foot length. Anything smaller that can land on 8,000 feet, they'll probably put on the right side, just to share the load a little bit. So I think I'm gonna expect 3-4 right, to be honest.
Qatari 915, star clearance available.
Okay, we're just about to get to cruise here. We can go ahead and turn our fasten seatbelt signs off. Watch the altitude hold kick over into altitude arm kick over in altitude hold, and it has. Okay, differential pressure looks like it did stay within the bounds the entire time, and now leveled off at 7, and the differential pressure is within limits, so I think we're okay there. Yeah, it just, so the way it started, the cabin altitude was climbing more slowly than normal, and that accounted for a higher than normal differential pressure at 10,000, which allowed me, fortunately I caught it early enough to go, oh, the rate knob didn't boot up in its normal position, it booted up in a fully left position. But I caught that in enough time. Oh, I never turned the APU off. Caught that in enough time to fix it, and we kept everything within limits. So I turned the engine air on, APU air off, but I kept the left the APU itself on. Oops. So we now like way unbalanced. 64 and 68. Yeah, we're not way unbalanced, but we are unbalanced. My right sock is with us. Good to see you. Appreciate you joining us. Alright, we're going to keep the engines in climb power until we get up to our cruise speed here. But anyway, you have the good lesson in why you do that climb check at 10,000. You know, before you get above the point where your passengers can breathe outside air, you want to make sure that the inside air is enough of a supply to be breathable. Alright, so we're coming up to cruise speed here. So let's go ahead and change it into our target turbine temp mode, so 750. So that is going to throttle these engines down until about 750. You can see they hit about 720. They'll cycle back up. They are going to automatically kind of fine-tune themselves to get that 750. And then we'll see. We'll see if we're continuing to accelerate and we're flirting with that red line speed, then we'll knock it down a few degrees until it seems to stabilize. Still coming up at a pretty good clip. So I think let's take it from 750 to 720 right now. And let's see what's happening at that point. Yeah, still coming up.
Is 121 contact Melbourne approach 132, Christian 132, decimal 0. 132, decimal 0.
So let's try 680.
Clip.
Melbourne Center, 27 today, flying flight 240.
Okay, stable at 680. Let's see what's happening with it now.
5543, yeah.
Still creeping up just a little bit here. Yeah, I think we might have to knock it down another 10 degrees yet. Alright, anyway, let's go back to what I was saying. So, we don't have a start clearance yet because officially we don't know what runway we're landing at Sydney. However, we've checked the ATIS and we kind of have an inkling that we're going to be landing on either 3-4 left or 3-4 right. Ordinarily, and we're coming from this point rivet, that we know. And so it seems obvious that the Rivet 5 arrival is for all runways, so it seems obvious to me that we're going to be on this Rivet 5 arrival no matter what. However, it seems like we're going to be a Rivet 5 arrival for runways 3 and 4, which means we're going to take this right turn here down to Dudok and Nasho, and then we're going to just keep on going straight until we get turned on to the final approach. Now, ordinarily, I say if you're coming from the west, the more likely scenario is you get the westernmost runway. So that says probably we're going to get 3-4 left. However, in this case, I don't think that's the case, since the bulk of traffic at Sydney, I mean, obviously they do have some international arrivals coming from the east, but the bulk of Sydney arrivals are coming from the west, meaning that they probably don't funnel every western arrival onto the left side, because that would be very unbalanced. As a matter of fact, if you look at the airport, the left runway is almost 13,000 feet, the right runway is just shy of 8,000 feet. So I would bet you, in order to balance the load between the two arrival runways, I wonder if the larger aircraft, the heavies, tend to get the left side, and the regional jets and smaller airliners tend to get the right side. It makes sense. That's at least a sensible way they can balance the arrival load between the two runways. It seems logical to me. So I'm going to assume we're going to get 3-4 right, but it's a 50-50 gambit. I don't really know. I don't know this airspace. I don't know the SOPs here at the airport. I'm just making an educated guess. I'm going to punch in 3-4 right to my FMC, but I'm going to keep both left and right sides pinned in the charts app for easy reference. And that way, if we guess 3-4 right, but we get assigned 3-4 left, we got to make a last-minute switch in the FMC and in the radios. We'll have it at our fingertips and be ready to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and set up for the right side just to kind of be ahead of the game, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so it looks like our speed is kind of settled. It's still creeping up ever so slightly. I'm going to go ahead and knock the temperature down 10 more degrees.
Melbourne Senate, Tower 915, we are 10 miles up. Can we get that clearance available?
Sorry, 915, when ready to send the problem 250.
When ready, 250.
Just trying to get that middle digit down 10 more degrees there.
Ready to send the problem 250.
Down at 250, National Cargo 820 Alpha, just wondering if you can accommodate us. We're in sequence behind the Qatari.
820 Alpha, 8 phone, I'll just delay by 2 minutes. Squawk 1150, maintain full of retreat 70.
Maintain at 370-1150, appreciate it for 820 Alpha.
Squawk 800, contact Melbourne approach 132,
Okay, just, yeah, let me just make sure that we don't maybe have to knock it down a little further. I don't want it to start yelling at us. Yeah, let's just go another 10 degrees.
And that's National Cargo 820 Alpha, star clearance, RB8 Alpha arrival, runway 27, when ready to send a follow to 250.
One ready, 250, RB8 Alpha.
Ruby the Juice is here. Hey Ruby, what's going on?
Cargo 820 Alpha, thank you.
Alright, so I think we're settled in terms of our cruise now. Let's go ahead and start setting up, again, assuming 3-4 right at Sydney, but 3-4 left is also possible. So we'll just take our best educated stab. By the way, we have the local frequencies,
number is Mach decimal 767.
21.7 and 20.5. I can get those kind of set on the right side as well, since we're...
And that's Chicago 820 Alpha.
We got a minute, 21.7.
Reducing minimum clean speed for 820 Alpha, thank you. Center, Tower 915, did you want us to stay at Mach decimal 790 for the descent, or can we go back up to 820?
And I can carry 915 on the descent, you can maintain your profile speed.
Roger, maintain profile speed on descent.
Okay, so that's set now.
Just up to 86, descend by start to 9000, Melbourne QNH 1021.
And then let's
121
heads down into the box here. And over here we'll go to menu, arrivals. Again, we're taking a guess. I'm guessing 34 right just because it's the shorter runway. And I figure anybody our size is going to be directed to that. We're almost definitely going to get the Rivet 5. And I'm assuming just the ILS. Did it say? Independent visual. So independent visual's fine, and we can use the ILS just as guidance.
1341, contact me 132, 6.
326, 1341.
And is the further out point, so we'll just use that. And we'll put that in the flight plan. So then after Rivet, let's just look at the star points, make sure they're all in there correctly. Pommel, Bigham, Tammy, Taxit, Boogie, Dudock, and Nasho. Bigham, Tammy, Taxit, Boogie, Dudock, Nasho, and then we get vectors and then NDEV. Okay, so if we get 3-4 right, we're set up. Now, I guess also I got to set up the radios for that. And actually, let's go ahead and put the nav page over here, the VNav page here.
189 for 240.
1256, Melbourne, send me good eye, climb, so problem 370.
50370, dealing 1256.
So if we do end up on 3-4 right, 109.3 and 335. And then if we go missed, there's no nav aid. It's an RNAV departure. SYST, SSY-SH, and then SSY-ST is the hold fix. It's 4,000. So it's the right turn to 4,000 if we go missed. But since there's no radio guidance, we'll just put the left and right side both on the... Well, actually, let's do this then.
Well, 23 climbing, 240.
Well, first of all, hold on, let me get this correct. Let me get this frequency right. 1093. But let's get it 1093 and 335.
Can we have that again?
And that's the right side. And if we end up getting the left side, 110.1 and 335.
Was that block 219? Negative, ceiling 1514, contact Melbourne Center 133, dash 415, expect start.
3315, Keeling 1514.
Qatari 915, day stand, 5 stars, 9,000, Melbourne QNH 1021.
3315.
9000, Melbourne.
Melbourne Center Keeling 1514, flight level 270.
Going 1514, Melbourne Center, g'day, clear for Rivet 5 arrivals, runway 34 left, maintain flight level 250.
Okay, Rivet 5 arrival, 34 left, and we'll descend now and maintain 250, Keeling 1514. Okay, well, that means we're on the...
1514, you're up to maintain flight level 270, when you're ready, flight level 250.
Okay, sounds good. When ready, flight level 250, thanks, Keeling 1514.
Keeling 1514, and you can track now direct to Taro.
Direct to Taro, Keeling 1514. Okay, well, first of all... enter. And we were just told 34 left is what we're getting, so let's go ahead and just set up to that then. Keep 34 right up just in case we get a last minute switch. We're 110.1 and 335. Okay, that's set in the left side. Minimums 220. Now setting a radio altimeter, so we don't have a barometric alerter for the minimums. I'm going to set it 100 feet higher just to account for any terrain variation between the missed approach point and the airport. You know, a Category 2 approach chart would tell you exactly what to set on the radio altimeter. Category 1, you're supposed to just go by the barometric minimum, which is, we'll just know it's 220. We'll set the V speeds when we get closer, and let's talk about our descent at this point. So descent. Pommel, we got Bigham, we got Paxit, we got Boogie. $6,000. Pommel's 9,000 to 14,000.
Good evening, Melbourne Center, Challenger, Walker 1341, Fold 410.
Walker 1341, Melbourne Center.
And then Pommel to Bigham is 7, then 6, then 10. Now Pommel to Bigham, 14, and then another 6. Okay, so I got my descent plan here. We're going to do Pommel at 14, Bigham at 11.9, Paxit at 78, and Boogie at 6. So let's get those altitudes punched into our VNAV plan here. So we'll see Boogie at 6, Paxit at 78. And that should blank out the ones before it. Yeah. So then we'll go tax, prior to tax, it will go Bigham at 6. I'm sorry, Bigham at 11.9.
Canada Crossing 1516 with you passing Buffalo 1164240.
And then prior to Bigham at 11.9, we'll do Palmo at 14. Start down. Target of 2,000. 54 miles atop of descent. Okay, and he cleared us to 2.5. Don't really want to go there just yet. Alright, seatbelts, landing altitude. Yeah, nothing else. And then what's the transition? 110. In fact, if we land on the west side, I bet it's 20.5. But it might be 21.7 or 26.5, depending on which ground frequency we end up talking to. We're landing on the left, but we want to turn off to the right. We're going to domestic terminal 3. Oh, yeah.
Killing 1516, Conspot, territory there.
I remember last year we round up in some of one of these gates in here.
Melbourne 7, good morning, American 650 is available 300.
9650, level 10, good act.
All right. So 36 miles yet, but we are going to get the seatbelt signs on. And the pressurization set, and then we're good to go. And whatever this next waypoint is, I think it's very close to our top of descent. 48 to go. Oh, not even really. And when this gets down to 15. How's the event shaping up? You know what? I have seen it way less slammed than this. I mean, I've seen it way more slammed than this. This seems like a relatively tame. I mean, they're busy. Obviously, they're busy. They got 15 on the ground at Brisbane. They got 26 waiting to depart at Sydney. 17 waiting to depart at Melbourne. This is not a lack of attendance by any means. However, it does look like it's not quite as slammed as I've seen this event be in the past. Which is good. Busy but not slammed is kind of where you want to be, right? By the way, don't forget, guys, our slant artwork adventure. Our slant artwork adventure is an image that we put into ChatGPT to have it create something that ends up being the thumbnail for when we upload the stream to YouTube later on. We get something that's roughly relevant to what we're doing that night, and it's just me walking the pups along the harbor with the bridge and Sydney Opera House in the background. So if you want to add to or modify our slant artwork adventure, you can cash in 500 of the Twitch channel points, aka the Alphabets points. Those are there at the bottom of the chat panel. You got the alphabet serial icon that represents those, and then the button next to that tells you how many you have, and if you've got 500 or more, you click on that button, then you get the option to cash 500 of those points in, and then you can just tell me right in the chat, what would you like to do to add to or modify that image? And if you've never participated in this before, it's fun. You can make it as silly as you want. Keep it roughly relevant to what's going on the live stream, but you can certainly make it as silly as you'd like. Alright, we're about 15 miles from top of descent here, so I'm going to go ahead and get the seatbelt signs on. And then we'll go ahead and get our cabin pressurization set. Field elevation at Sydney is essentially 0. It's 20 feet mean sea level, so we're going to set this to just a hair, eyelash above 0. There we go.
Information Bravo, current 2 changes, wind 300 degrees 7 knots, temperature 16, changes only Bravo.
Okay, we're going to capture 280 knots. Plug that. And then we'll adjust the throttle so we get a nice 1,750 foot per minute descent. That's on a Q-Link 1514. Just confirm 250 is our clearance right now for altitude.
Doing 1514, descend right start at 10,000, QNH 1024, cancel speed restriction.
Okay, now via the star down to 10,000, 1024 with no speed restrictions, Q-Link 1514. Okay, so we can now go all the way down to 10. Just going to adjust the throttles until we're right there on that
for the Ribbit 5 arrival, runway 34 left.
1750.
Direct panel for the Ribbit 5 arrival, runway 34 left, maintain 370. Dead.
Just adjusting the throttles ever so slightly to kind of maintain that descent, right? So the aircraft is pitching for a constant speed of 280. But we're going to adjust the throttles then. So if you're keeping a constant descent rate, the throttles affect the speed. If you're keeping a constant speed, then the throttles adjust the descent rate. So we'll keep the throttles. The target descent rates here. These altitudes are compliant with the star. What did he say? I think it was 1024 at Sydney, yeah. So we're not going to change to 1024 until we're down close to 10,000. Actually, through 110. Flight level 110 is when we're officially supposed to switch. But I'm just going to set that to there for now, just as a reminder that that's what we're switching it to when we do. Alright, we're descending a little too quick. Now the target is shallowing up on us, so... Add just a touch more throttle in to slow the descent. At Pommel, so I put in we're going to be at 14 at Pommel. However, if we're going to miss Pommel, let's miss it a little bit low. If we miss it high, we're not in compliance with the star, but if we miss it low, we're okay.
Velocity 829, clear direct to NLAB. When ready, descend to flight level 250.
Rookie 31st wants to get in on our slant artwork adventure. Rookie, what do you want to do? Okay, that's a lot. I'll see if I can get some of that in there.
Velocity 829, clear direct to NLAB. When ready, descend to flight level 250. Velocity 827, sir.
Okay, we want you. I like that's a little simpler. Rookie 31st, just the Aussie themed version of the Statue of Liberty. Okay.
When ready, descend to flight level 250.
Clear NLAB stand 350 when ready for jet.
We'll do it that way. I like that.
Contact Sydney approach 128.3 today.
Okay, that's probably going to be our handoff as well. Oh, that was our handoff.
Queuing 1514, contact Sydney approach 128.3.
28.3, Queuing 1514. Look, oh, that'll be our handoff as well. Oh, that was our handoff.
309, I'll look at their state 41, good night. 7120, velocity 122.
Send the approach, Queuing 1514. We got information, Bravo. We're 171 descending via the Ribbon 5.
Like 1514, city approach, good day, descend via star to 6000 from my tree full left, expect independent visual approach.
Okay, down to 6,000 via the star, and we'll expect independent visual 34 to left. Queuing 1514.
Velocity 38, contact the director 126.
One departure.
Was locked.
Ghost 38, descend 6000, contact city director 126.
Okay, so we are descending a little too quickly to get to Pommel, but remember I said if we get below 14 at Pommel, we're fine. So we're going to add just a little bit of throttle back in.
Climb by 3280, got the 3250, thank you.
Okay, it didn't do bad. It didn't do bad. It did a little bit different than yours. But there you go, surfboard, glasses, and the straw hat. That's not bad.
He's on 1014, contact Brisbane 10130841, can I?
Brisbane 1013.0.1, New Zealand number 37.
That's not bad. We'll take it.
Chile 1576, contact Brisbane Centre 130, days 41, good day.
130.1, Chile 157.
FedEx 77, descent to 6,000.
Okay, so now we need to make sure we're descending at least at 1300 because we don't want to miss.
Velocity 123, climb now for level 280.
We don't want to miss Pommel too high. We want to be below 14 at Pommel.
Airbus 35 Kilo East 2000, climbing 4000.
There we go.
Yeah, but 35 Kilo heavy departures, backside of T5, climb by for level 280 and cancel restrictions.
And we are coming up on 10,000. I'm going to go ahead and start the APU back up. Yes, it is the SOP in this aircraft. You have the APU running during takeoff and landing. Alright, so we're below 14.
You have
and okay, we have passed Pommel, but we're below 14, so that's good. And so now we want to descend a little more quickly.
0443
And we're not quite at the transition. Transition is 110, but since we're coming up on that, I'm going to go ahead and...
Still under bank sun approach to the bank sun approach Delta begins at 1,000. You're presently 1,500 to that airspace at time, just above.
Let's get those all set now. Since we're looking at them.
155.
Cutting 155 for the clearing zone.
Well, Brett, good day. Capital 56,000, continent 50135 for 10,000. And received information Bravo.
And...
Coast 56 Alpha, Sydney approach. G'day, descent 5 stars, 6,000. Runway 34 right, expect independent visual approach.
And he did say disregard the speed restrictions. And I don't think 250 below 10 is universal here like it is in the US.
And just to verify you are just for inbound Richmond.
But I am going to slow it to 250 anyway.
Direct inbound Richmond, have one, take off.
Bus 25, okay, thanks. In that case, I don't have anything for SQ identification control service, terminate CM.
Yep, bus
1.
Capture the vertical speed, and if we got the APU air, engine air off, APU is also providing power. There's our friend Cross Hyperoo. Twitch.tv/Cross Hyperoo.
Expect independent visual approach.
Okay, descend via the star down to 6,000 and expect independent visual approach, runway 34 right, QLink 621.
FedEx 77, contact Sydney Director, 126.41.
This is Director 26, up from 01, FedEx 71.
26-1 is probably our next handoff.
Change runway 34 left.
Runway 34 left, QLink 621.
Good morning, Jetstar 511, 3,000 for 5,000.
Jets 511, departures, good morning. I'll tell you what.
Okay, below 10, we got forward-facing lights on.
Cancel speed restrictions.
Cancel speed, right turn, direct Wollongong, climb 280, Jetstar 511, thanks.
Good Fixins is here.
It's finger licking good.
Alright, tax it at 78, but as long as we're below 9, we're fine.
Sydney approach for New Zealand 213, passing flight level 160, just past Marlin at a 250 on speed.
213 heavy Sydney approach, g'day. Change your runway 34 left, expect independent visual approach.
Okay, and now it wants us to slow the descent.
34 left, expect the IVA for New Zealand 213.
Got a 5 yellow X-ray, contact Brisbane Center 130, day 419.
130, this is along with a complex 60.
Yeah, but 35 yellow, cancel level restrictions.
Cancel level restrictions, thank you, Airbus 35 Kilo.
Okay, we'll hold the 1,300 foot per minute descent. We'll get the speed down to 250.
Kilo 621, cancel your speed restrictions and just request you maintain up to 300 knots till 7,000.
You maintain 300 knots till 7,000, QLink 621.
Quarter 1515, contact City Director 126.41.
26.1, what's that for Qantas 550?
Quarter 559 Captain.
Sydney departure Korea 401 Heavy going around the runway 34 left.
Korea 401 Heavy Sydney approach, g'day. Kilo 1514,
Okay,
contact
works.
Sydney director 126.41, g'day.
Alright, 26-1, Kilo 1514, we'll see it.
15,
Quarter 515 Sydney director, g'day, descent to 3000.
Descent to 3000, Qantas 515, do you have any speed restriction?
Quarter 515, negative. Actually report your current speed, please.
Current speed is 240 knots.
Quarter 515, maintain speed 240 knots now.
Roger that, maintaining 240 knots now and descending 3000, Qantas 515.
Director Keeling 1514 is at 6,000.
Keeling 1514, Sydney director, g'day, descent to 3000.
Down to 3,000, Keeling 1514. You guys can start putting in some predictions into the chat as far as the vertical descent rate at the moment the wheels touch runway surface. No bot command necessary for that. Just a number into the chat, positive or negative. We'll know that you mean a descent rate either way. And the closest predictor gets an automatic entry into our monthly landing rate raffle, next to be pulled on August the 31st.
Right, first final 34 left, third independent visual, FedEx 77.
Go ahead and get our
FedEx 77, resume normal speed.
V-speeds calculated for a flaps 30. Up just a little bit. Make sure we're capturing 250 out of it. We don't have a specific speed restriction. I've heard them giving out speeds pretty fast to the other aircraft around.
Qantas 515, lead Jacqueline on heading 250.
But we're just going to do 250 until we're told something different.
Keeling 1514, turn left heading 060.
Left to 060, Keeling 1514.
FedEx 77, 8 miles to touchdown, contact tower 120.5, g'day.
Over tower 120.5, FedEx 77, g'day, thanks.
See ya. Qantas 515, reduce speed.
Approach frequency and course set, missed approach frequency and course not applicable. Missed approach altitude, we know it's 4,000. Of course, we're doing a visual, not the missed. I'm sorry, 3,000 off the left side. V speeds were set, minimums we know is 220. Wind 300 at 7, so a slight left to right. Ceiling and visibility not a factor, and turn off will be to the right side. Since we're on our intercept heading, I think it's probably prudent for us to slow down a little bit.
Korean Air 401 Heavy, Sydney director, g'day, descent to 3000.
Descent 3000, Korean Air 401 Heavy.
Keeling 1514, turn left heading 360, report runway 34 left inside.
Alright, left to 360, looking for the runway, Keeling 1514.
Qantas 515, turn right heading 300, reduce speed 200 knots.
Heading 300 and speed 200, Qantas 515.
Traffic.
Keeling 1514's got the runway.
Keeling 1514, join final, runway 34 left, cleared independent visual approach.
Alright, we'll join final and we'll clear the independent visual 34 left, Keeling 1514.
Localizer armed. Localizer captured. slope 900.
Sydney direct, good day, coming 56 South, maintaining 6,000.
Okay, we're going to keep it at 210 for now.
Sydney direct, take it A. Fueling 1514, traffic is a Qantas A320, correction, A321. It'll be your 3 o'clock, 1.5 miles, joining final for the parallel runway, 2,000 feet.
Alright, we're looking. Keeling 1514.
Qantas 515, it's set localizer, runway 34 right, report visual.
We are currently intercepting localizer 34 right and report visual. Qantas 550.
He should be right there.
56 Alpha, descent to 3000.
72,000, coming 56 South.
I don't see him. I don't see him, but okay. All right, we're on localizer. We're on glide slope. Since we're descending on glide slope, I'm going to go ahead and bring the speeds back and get the gear and flaps deployed.
515, we have visual with
2500.
right.
Qantas 515, cleared independent digital approach, runway 34 right. Traffic is a Q-Link C462 onto parallel 2300 descending. They'll be ahead of you.
Roger that. Cleared visual, independent visual and I34 right, and we have the traffic assigned Qantas 550.
Q-Link 1514, contact tower 120.5, g'day.
20.5, Keeling
Speed
1514.
checked below 205.
Korean Air
Select
401,
flaps
turn left
18.
heading 040.
Alright, 20.5.
Compass 56 Alpha, 5. 16.5, perfect, starting delay, thanks for that.
Sydney Tower, Keeling 1514. It's 4 out for 34 left.
Kilo 1514, Tower, g'day.
Okay, guess we'll get an approach clearance in a minute.
Autopilot disconnected.
My airplane, you can't have it. Gears down and green, landing flaps, one more to go. Speed's coming in.
Kilo 1514, runway 34 left, clear to land.
1000.
Little land 34 left, Keeling 1514. Alright, landing flaps set and checked. Gears down and green. Continuous ignition on. Cabin crews alerted.
Cabin is secure.
Looks good, speed's good. Glide's good. And remember, don't overflare this thing. I overflare every aircraft. I'm not going to do that today.
500. Plus 100.
Glide slip says I'm good. Pappy's okay. Pappy's now agree.
Minimums.
Speed's right on. Local glide right on. Looking good here. Pappy's like to go slip to the red here. Yeah, we're a little low. We're okay though.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Pacific 401, runway 34 left, line up and white.
Flight 209, now arriving at Gate 8. Gate 9. Gate 10. Gate 13.
Wasn't that long.
Gate 14. Gate 15. Gate 23. 24. 25.
60 knots.
Alright, where are we?
Kilo 1514, contact ground, g'day.
Alright, going to ground. Which one are we going to? 21-7?
Hey, firm.
Alright, 21-7, Keeling 1514.
Pacific 401, contact departures airborne, runway 34 left, please takeoff.
Finish tower, Nordic 70.
Again, Pacific 401.
New Zealand 361.
Pentagram Kilo 1514. I believe we are Bravo 9 Sugar Kilo going to any domestic gate you want us to.
Feeling 1514, taxi via Bravo, cross runway 25 to the bay.
Alright, Bravo and cross runway 25 to the bay. Kilo 1514, thanks.
I'm going to assign you one if you're alright with that. It's 53 and then Bravo, Bravo 3.
Alright, Bravo, Bravo 3 to stand 53, Kilo 1514. That's fine with us.
Thanks.
It's Herbie the Love Bug's number.
New Zealand 36.
Continuous ignition can come off. Strobe light, landing light can come off.
Push approved, New Zealand.
Flaps can be stowed. Flight directors can come off. I can find my mouse cursor, that'd be awesome. Weather radar can come off. Weather radar on would have been there. Weather radar off is there.
On Lima, hold short.
It's fine.
Charlie.
TA and RA can come off.
30 seconds.
Qantas 515, good morning. We are on Lima, holding short of Charlie.
Qantas 515.
On the Bravo.
G'day, taxi via Bravo, hold short runway 25. What bay are you going to?
Okay, I see Bravo 3 up there.
By Bravo to holding point 25, and I don't know where is the smaller plane from Qantas parking. Is it Terminal 3?
Okay, and I see 53.
Right with that.
Okay, 53 is basically right abeam Bravo 3.
Perfect for Qantas 515.
So that's good.
Either Terminal 2 or 3, I think.
It wasn't the landing wasn't that bad, but it is a great clip from a great movie. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Cross runway 25, Foxtrot, Charlie to the best.
Roger that. Bay 30.
Alright, so when we get to
across 25.
to this Bravo
And then
6,
Foxtrot and Charlie, the Qantas 550.
so when we get to Bravo 3, we're going to
I just want
basically
to tell you both. Good luck.
yeah, exactly.
We're all counting on you.
Feeling 1261, ready for taxi.
Feeling 1251, taxi via Charlie, cross runway 25, Bravo 10, hold short of 0.
Charlie, cross 25.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. Now, don't call me Shirley.
It's an entirely different kind of flying, altogether.
It's an entirely different kind of flying.
You guys aren't able to do them that quick rapid fire. I can, because I have the magic power.
Contact tower 124.
But yeah, I got a good number of them from that movie. Alright, I'll tell you what, I'm going to cheat my VATSIM radar here just a little bit, because I have a feeling some of what we're looking at here are not actual VATSIM players.
I'm having
So
trouble
go
with
ahead and
radar,
trim.
sir. What's wrong with it? I lost the bleeps. I lost
Different
the bleeps.
movie.
I lost the creeps. The what?
Also
The
a
what?
good
The
one.
what? You know, the bleeps. The sweeps.
Okay, yeah, so
And the creeps.
there is no,
That's not all he's lost.
there are no VATSIM aircraft parked in any of these stalls.
27, contact ground 1,
So these are all static, so I can go ahead and run through this one.
Tower on 124.7, thanks. Have a good night. Just Tower 1127, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take off again, I'm just trying to get up the hill.
New Zealand 361, ready for taxi.
Alright, I'm gonna
361, taxi via Golf, Charlie.
I'm gonna scooch in just a little bit to the right here, just so that our cockpit instruments don't get blocked by the static model here.
25, Bravo 10, hold short 0, New Zealand 361.
I mean, this is gonna look like a gruesome collision, but Like I said, just pretend that guy's not really there, because he's not. Okay, we made it.
Quarter 515, just to confirm we allowed you cross runway 25 on Bravo.
Alright, let's run through the turnaround list here. Master warning knob out. Let's get the oxygen systems off. Up top, we can go engine gens off. Pack number 2 off. Throttles to cut off. Let's make sure all 4 go, and they did. That's the seatbelt lights off.
Now on Foxtrot.
Sorry, last second.
Fuel pumps 1, 3, and 4 off.
Now
Screen and
on
probe heat off.
On Foxtrot.
Ice detection off.
Korean 401, ground
And beacon light off. Go over here to the tablet. Let's go ahead and get the chalk set. And let's do a 10-minute deboard. Let's get ground power connected as well.
New Zealand 361, give way to the Key-Link A220.
Up top, we can turn off the galley power. We're just going to turn off pack number 1. Let's get external air, external AC, external electricity on.
Sydney ground, got a couple of 56 Alpha holding short of Charlie on Lima. Request taxi to the apron on Kilo.
Compass 56 Alpha, g'day, taxi
Yeah, it's not.
Bravo, hold short of Kilo.
It's not liking that for whatever reason, I don't know, but that means we'll just keep the APU on. That's fine. We'll just keep the APU power on.
Actually, correction, hold short of Bravo 8.
APU Jan is on. Okay, we'll keep that.
And holding short Bravo 8, compass 56 Alpha.
APU air off because we are turning the packs off. And the left inner fuel pump. Well, no, if we're keeping the APU on, then we'll keep the APU fuel pump on.
Killing 621, g'day, confirm it's Bay 2 or domestic 2 apron? Domestic 2 apron. I mean, if you have a specific gate you want us to go to, we can take it. Killing 621. Now, so good taxi via Bravo, cross runway 25.
Okay, alright, let's take a moment to check on our fuel status.
Hey, Bravo,
I had said...
Airstring 8749, taxi via domestic 2, Charlie.
Okay, there we go.
Cross runway 25, Bravo 10, hold short of Sierra. Domestic 2.
I had said leg 1 was going to end at 9:28. We actually got down a little early. And we should have 10.5 left in the tanks.
Skip 13, Sydney ground, pushback approved.
We got about 10.8 left in the tanks. That's pretty good. That's very close. What is it exactly? 5141 plus 5761. 10,902. Wow.
Oh, sorry, Skytrans.
So an extra 350 pounds, but that's pretty good. Timing and fuel estimates worked out really well. So I would say that we're on target with those.
Right here, so can I get the start clearance, please?
Skip a set report rate to taxi.
Rate taxi, thank you so much.
And then let's check on your predictions. I was overall pleased with that one, guys.
Airspring 87.
92 out of 100 was what it rated me. It did ding me a little bit for the touchdown zone. We were slightly long. Off center line, and I guess crab angle was what it didn't like.
12 Crescent Tower, 1248.7.
So I guess we were crabbing a little bit to the left. Yeah, of course that was we did have a crosswind there, but I really didn't control for the crosswind. We were just slightly crabbed over, and then when I touched down, that left crab became a left deviation from the line. You know, if the airplane's turn slightly left but tracking forward, then as soon as it's not flying through the air but it's actually rolling on its tires, it's going to roll in the direction that it was pointed. So that's where that left crab, you can see the crab angle goes away, but you'll see the heading changes by that same amount.
Cinegraph, hello, New Zealand, 213 on Bravo.
Well, actually, yeah, the heading changes, but then I correct it back to get back onto the center line.
Let me check real quick, 213.
That's okay, slightly long. We did have a slight left to right crosswind.
We're looking for gate,
and maybe overflared it just a little bit. You can see I overflared it and then dropped.
Continue via Bravo.
So
Charlie 2 to the
did what I said I wasn't going to do,
yeah, that'll be Bravo,
but not too badly. I didn't overflare it so badly that we started rising up again. But we did overflare it just a little bit, and touchdown kind of late as a result. Okay, but that's not bad. 92 out of 100. We'll take 160 was the number that you all were looking for. And with CB Flyer putting in the 150, that's going to be CB Flyer's entry into the landing rate raffle. So congrats to you.
Skytrain 13, taxi via Gulf, hold short of Charlie.
Gulf, hold short Charlie, Skytrain 13, take.
At YSSY on 87.
New Zealand 213, cross runway 25, continue taxi via Bravo, Bravo 4, Charlie 2 to the base. Alright, roger, taxi runway, or cross runway 25, taxi via Bravo, Bravo 4, Charlie 2, New Zealand.
And then we'll take it from the top. Alright, before we get too deep into leg number 2, I'm going to fly over on VATSIM, but then I'm going to go ahead and take a quick liquid recycling break. While we continue the deboarding. Yeah, so there's another few minutes of deboarding left to do, but that's fine. We gotta send our second flight plan and then take an intermission, so that'll all happen during that process, and that's fine. Alright, let's get the flight plan page over here. Yeah, we want to go ahead and take that flight plan. We'll make some modifications to it. Call sign's the same. All this is the same. Route's going to be different. We're going to be departing from YSSY. We are going to be off block at 0205. Yeah. Oh, we can beat that even. 27,000 is the same. That's the same. We're going to go to Brisbane this time. Alternate YBSU. 0120 with 0306 left in the tanks. We've already pasted in the route. None of that stuff is different. And there we go.
Bravo 10, hold short Sierra.
Bravo 10, hold short Sierra. Skytrain 13, thank you.
Alright, so we'll take it from the top of the flow list, but before we do that, I am going to take a quick break out of the cockpit for a little liquid recycling. So let's leave you in a position here to watch some of the goings on at the airport.
Skytrain 13, just verify the booking 4355 no challenge.
Alright, and we'll be right back with you guys. We got lots of flying left to do. It's the FNO Downunder. And we'll get back to it in just a moment, guys. Sit tight.
Squawk mode going now. Some reason my transponder got turned off. Skytrain 13.
Thank you.
Well, after the 108 on Bravo, we showed 25.
Well, see 108, sitting ground, do you have a preferred day?
We'll take the Western to London.
Well, see 108, taxi via Bravo, cross runway 25, Bravo 4, Charlie 2 to the left.
Bravo cross 25, Bravo Charlie 2 to the gate, velocity 108.
213, continue cross runway 25, Bravo 10, hold for here.
Continue taxi, Charlie, Honda 25, Bravo 10, short 0, Honda 270.
Airspring 8749, contact Tower 12487. 12476 for service of Airspring 8749.
Velocity sending down velocity 538, around Lima, corner from short Charlie.
Velocity 538, can you ground, do you have a preferred bag?
44.
Velocity 538, taxi via Bravo, cross runway 25, Golf to the bay.
Bravo, cross 25, Golf to the bay, velocity 538, thanks.
Skytrain 13, contact Tower 12487.
477, thank you.
Contact Tower 12487 today.
12487 today.
Qantas 520, Sydney ground, pushback approved.
Push through, Qantas 520.
It looks like the action's kind of heating up. They got a good queue going here, so let's go ahead and get going with our second leg of the Friday Night Ops Down Under, the FNO Downunder. Partnership between VAT-USA and VATPAC. I always used to call this an annual thing, but this is the second time they've done it this year. The last time was in April. So if they start doing this twice a year, that's even better. This is so much fun. VAT-USA has done a stellar job this year of partnering with outside divisions on lots of occasions. Man, VATSIM Canada, VATSIM Caribbean, VATSIM Mexico, VATSIM South America, VATSIM Pacific a couple of times now. And, I think that's our very good friend Mustafa, by the way. So we got Cross Hyperu, we got Mustafa. Gang's all here. But anyway, yeah, so it's the FNO Downunder, so an opportunity for those of us who enjoy flying in these American events, traditionally American events on Friday nights, flying somewhere else. Our slant artwork adventure, that's a side project that we do on every stream where we generate an image through ChatGPT that becomes the thumbnail when we upload the stream to YouTube later, and we try to make it roughly relevant to the live stream, but we can kind of have some fun with it too. I've got myself walking the pups down the bank of the Sydney Harbor with the bridge and the Sydney Opera House in the background, but we've now added the ossified Statue of Liberty in the background. So if you want to add to or modify our slant artwork adventure, you can cash in 500 of the Twitch channel points, aka the alphabets points there at the bottom of the chat panel. You've got the alphabet serial icon that represents those, and then the button next to that tells you how many you have, and if you click on that, it'll give you the option to cash in 500 at a time and put yourself in the running to add to or modify our image. And just basically get in the chat and suggest to me what you would like to do to add to or modify our image, and kind of keep it to a few words or a simple sentence. Don't go hog wild with a paragraph. But yeah, let me know what you'd like to do, and kind of just add to that thing bit by bit, piece by piece until the end. Alright, but in the meantime, oh my goodness, I was going to say, well, in the meantime, we've got the spy raid coming in. We got the raid coming in from Spy Flight. We were just talking about all the other streamers that we have discovered were at this airport with us there, Mr. Spy. We got Mustafa that we heard here. We got Cross Hyper that we heard here. I was kind of wondering whether you were somewhere at this event also. I'm guessing that's a no since your stream is over and you hit us with the raid, but thank you so kindly for the support. I hope that whatever you were up to tonight, you had a good one. And appreciate your continued support of the channel there, Mr. Dave. And everybody coming over from the Spy raid hangout. We're going to have some good times here flying in the FNO Downunder as we are doing some flying down in Australia as part of the VATSIM Friday Night Ops, partnered with an outside division to give us someplace new to fly. And we once a year or so have done this, but this has been the second time for this year, as we did this in April, and now we're back in Australia again. But it's always a great time and such fun controllers down here. We've had great service all night, and we got another leg to do. So sit tight. We're at Sydney right now, and we're getting ready to start our leg going up to Brisbane. So everybody who came over from the Spy Flight raid, including the artist formerly known as 757 Spy, as well as PhD Halo, we got Nen Wolfie, we got Lion Drummer, we got Velvet Pill, and oh, you did land in Melbourne. Okay, we started in Melbourne, landed here in Sydney, and then we're going to continue up to Brisbane. So very cool, Dave. Yeah, glad that you had a good trip down here as well. We got all the. There's Mustafa right on the radio just there. So that's so funny to hear the familiar voices week after week. This really is a tight-knit community, isn't it? All right, well, we've got our leg filed. Let's go ahead and get it set up and running.
We want to hold short 25.
We run over. Let's grab our payload. So fuel is what it is. We got to do some balancing. We're 700 pounds heavier on the right, but we'll fix that once we get airborne. Wow, why is the deboarding taking that long? We did a 10-minute, but it seems like it's taken forever. So I wonder, is there a way to abort this? Yeah, I don't like this. This is one thing with the JustFlight. The tablet's been a little glitchy lately. You know, it's a great aircraft. It's a lot of fun. It's really well modeled. JustFlight has been a great developer, but this tablet in the BAe-146 for Flight Sim 2024 has been very glitchy, and man, it seems like we're kind of stuck here. I wonder if we ought to just bail out and load back in. I think I'm going to do that. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit better situation. If we, yeah, just let's disconnect from VATSIM. Let's end flight. And let's just connect right back to where we were as close as we can. YSSY. We were at stand 53. Is that there? We should do the toll livery. I'm not sure what that is. This is the livery that shipped with the JustFlight plane. I didn't install it custom for this event. It just came with the plane. So. All right, come on, let's load back in. I'm gonna lose my spot here. Although we did get rid of the static aircraft that way, that was a good thing. Okay, yeah, we're in the aircraft. Let's connect again.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
What's going on with this? Controls are all wonky now. What? Yeah, we got all kinds of weird stuff happening. All right, we're going to take a quick intermission. I'm going to completely close the sim and reload it. So we'll be back in just a few minutes, guys, and hopefully things will go better for us from that point forward. We're back with you guys. Hopefully when we load back into the sim, everything will be a little bit more kosher and predictable with that plane. Yeah, the JustFlight BAe-146, man, amazing piece of software, but it was much more predictable in Flight Sim 2020. I feel like with 2024, sometimes it just loads in a wonky state and gives you these glitches, like for the first leg. You know, we have the zero fuel weight showing as wrong, and the total weight showing as too high, you know, above max gross takeoff weight, and we get the alarm on departure. We have to ignore that, and then we have all kinds of things that start in weird positions, like wipers are running, and you know, other things are on that shouldn't be left on normally, and what was the panel brightness switches were all turned down, so couldn't see anything on the panel, and then I had to go hunt down the brightness knobs that I've never once touched. So yeah, just a lot of weird things when the plane doesn't cleanly boot up into a startup state as it normally does. And we've had that error a few times, but that's all since it ported over to 2024. We never had that issue in Flight Sim 2020. The sim was a disaster at launch. Can't complain now. Yeah, well, here's what it is. I mean, you know, for the most part, it's been stable, but it's got definitely has a few frustrating things about it. It's gotten better. I didn't start using it until just the beginning of this year. Actually, yes. Saving back. As it is, it was the correct livery and everything. So, nope, now it's AirCal. Well, we'll change it back. Configure. Livery. I mean, not that it matters, but just for the pretty pictures. Alright, saving back. Saving back. Notice that I did lose my spot, by the way. And 53 is now taken, so I guess I'll just take one a little bit further south. Was this 59? 57 looks like it's... 57 looks like it's unoccupied for the moment. The guy just to our left, by the way, I think that was Mustafa. Yeah, Qantas 683. Mike Berkman, yeah, that's Mustafa. That's the guy who stole my spot. Urgh. That's okay. He didn't know it was my spot. Let's hope this one goes better. See, I was saying we were going to be pushed back by 5 after, and I was like, oh, we got plenty of time. Well, that was my fault. That was my fault for saying that. Come on, come on, come on. Any day. Well, while we're waiting, guys, we'll take one more stab at the Slant Artwork Adventures. Slant Artwork Adventures over here. And you can cash in 500 of the Twitch channel points, a.k.a. the Alphabets points, there at the bottom of the chat panel. And then once you've done that, you can let me know what you would like to do to add to or modify our image. CB Flyer, you had done that just a few moments ago. Why don't you let me know what your contribution to the image is? All right, I'll see if it'll let me do that. I'll see if it'll let me do that. That's on the borderline of proprietary branding stuff, and sometimes it gets finicky about that. We'll see what it does. If it gets hung up, I'll modify it. So far, it seems to be taking it and working on it. Man, what is with this load time? Come on now. Yeah, it didn't even give a hiccup. I'm not sure what's going on with that plane necessarily, but it's got wheels, and I don't know if that's pontoons or skis or both or what that is. Kind of an oddly shaped cabin as well, but yeah, if you don't look too closely at the plane, it did a nice job with that. Man, it'd be nice if it was, yeah, interesting cowling, right? Yeah. Brand new design. Goodness gracious, guys. It'd be super if the sim would ever let us load in, huh? The natives are getting restless, too. You can hear it. Ah. I'm gonna have to shut the whole stream down and whole sim down and whole computer down? Start over? I hope not, because, I mean, we're not going to have time to get the second trip in if it gets to that. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Let's take another brief intermission. I think everyone's flocking to Sydney too. Steve R. Yeah, I mean it's a Friday Night Ops event, so it's going to have busy traffic. But we haven't even connected to VATSIM, so the fact that there's a lot of traffic on VATSIM at Sydney has no bearing on what's happening right now. I'm not even connected to VATSIM. Yeah, you saw Ominous player here. Yeah, we heard Mustafa, we heard Cross Hyperu, we heard that Spy Flight landed up in Melbourne. So yeah, this is a pretty popular event. All the streamers. I mean, the Friday Night Ops, you almost always hear most of the big streamers voices at some point. Cross Hyperu, I don't know if I said him. Yeah, but the fact that it's not even loading in, I haven't even hit connect for VATSIM. This has nothing to do with that being busy. All right, well, we'll give it another 60 seconds here, and then if it's not loaded in by then, I'll cut it out and reload it from scratch. And we do that, I'll shut the entire computer down and bring it back up, so the stream will go dark for just a few moments while that happens. But let's give it another 45 seconds or so. Just doesn't bode well. If it's taking this long to load in, something tells me something's not going to be quite right. Sucks for everybody that came over from the spy raid. I love getting those nice big spy raids. You know, always get good support from the channel, and then, you know, we sit here and watch the sim load in forever. So my apologies to those of you who came over from the spy flight raid and didn't get a chance to see me fly at all. So fingers crossed, we'll get that rectified in short order here, and we'll have another good leg up to Brisbane. Okay, that's officially been a minute since I said it, so I'm going to go ahead and bail out of here. We're going to come back in a few moments, and we will get leg 2 underway soon, but we're going to go ahead and close the stream down completely. So in the meantime, guys, sit tight. We'll be back with you as soon as we can, all right? Talk to you in just a minute.